Good evening, everybody. I'm Mr. Price. I'd like to thank you for going online and watching our back to school night. It's certainly a little bit different than what it's been in the past, but I'm thankful to everybody that's here. And one of the things I wanted to make clear off the bat was how much I've enjoyed teaching so far this year and just being able to get back in the classroom. And I want to make sure that you guys are all aware and that my students are also aware that the lines of communication are wide open, and with some of the challenge we've had so far this year, I think that's the right thing for teachers to do. A couple things about myself. I've been here at Calico for actually almost 30 years now, so I'm kind of the old guy in the department. I live in Lidditz. I live with my wife Jill, who's a respiratory therapist at Lancaster General Hospital. So she's kind of been a bit on the front lines here with the whole COVID thing. Graduated from Effort in 1985, Millersville in 1989, and I started here at Calico in 1991. A couple other things about me. I have three boys. Two of them are I was going to say currently at Temple. One of them has come home. He's the freshman. So he's working at home. My oldest is a senior, and he's living in his apartment and doing his online work there. And my youngest boy is right now a senior at Warwick. So looking like next year is going to be the empty nest year. So just wanted to share a few things about myself. The courses that I teach ninth grade American Studies, which has kind of been my big workload through the years. I also teach World Studies, AP American History, and now this is my first year teaching Sociology, which I really like. And I have to admit, it was a course that I've always wanted to explore and get involved in, and I love the topic, and I like what we're doing so far. So at this point, what I'm going to do, if you just grant me a minute here, I'm going to go to the course syllabus and talk a little bit about what we're going to do this year in sociology. Okay, so I'm hoping you're able to see this. In a few minutes, I'll find out if you're not. And again, this is sociology. A couple things about the course itself. It is an elective course. It's a course that's designed mostly for kids that go to college, but it's also a good course, I think, for students that are not going to. One of the things we've tried to talk about early in the year is really how important sociology is in a variety of fields, and it's often looked at as a social studies type of field, but we've also had them read a little bit about how sociology is applicable to everybody, and understanding how people think and how people act and behave is a help in any job, and it's also just something I think that everybody should have. Course objectives. By the end of the course, we're going to talk about a lot of critical social issues, and you're going to see in a couple minutes what those are. So we're going to study it in kind of a systematic way, both behavior and social change. We're also going to be able to demonstrate comprehension of roles and functions of social institutions and relationships among those. So we're going to look at whether it's arts and literature or customs and tradition, understanding a little bit of the roles that they play and the functions that they play. Number three, demonstrate understanding of sociological theories and apply them to explain social phenomenon or situations. Some of the theoretical stuff is probably the most challenging of the course, and what I tell them basically is that we all start our belief system with certain different kinds of assumptions, and these sociological theories give us ways of studying things in different ways, and not everybody. Some sociologists lean more one way than the other, others more the other way, others like to come at sociology from a lot of different viewpoints. I also hope to stimulate them into taking interest in being part of social activities. We're trying to find a lot out about like some of the problems of the world, but the reason you try to find out the problems is because you hopefully can fix them. And that's what sociologists have done throughout history, is to try to determine what's the root cause of problems and to try to figure out ways to fix them. So we want to get them interested in taking part in some of those activities and being a vehicle for change. Last, number 5, use sociological imagination to explain their life experiences in a broader social context. So we've talked a lot early on about the use of sociological imagination, that you look at the world a little bit differently once you've taken sociology. I think one of the things sociology does is introduce a bit of gray to what young students often see as a black and white world. Part of that's being able to put yourself into the shoes of other people and really looking at some of the root causes and not always taking what we call sometimes conventional wisdom as fact. Certainly some of the things that we're going to study this year will reinforce conventional wisdom. Other things will challenge them. Sometimes they will think some of the topics we look at are obvious, but other times they're really going to challenge the way that they think, and that's what I hope that they do, is challenge a little bit of the way that they think. So you can see some of the topics there. The nature of sociology we've kind of started with. Second chapter is on sociological research. We will do some sociological research this year. Culture, socialization, social interaction, social structure, groups and organization, deviance and social control, always an interesting topic for students. Stratification and social mobility, so we're going to look at social class and the way the role that plays in society and also their own lives. Social inequality, race and ethnicity, strategy by gender and age, family, religion, government, economy, education, health, and medicine, communities, population, collective behavior, social change, and again, back to kind of the idea of research. So there's a lot of good stuff there. I think there are a lot of topics that just innately interest students. And they're also controversial. We're not going to shy away from the controversial nature of some of those. We have a couple textbooks we use. The one you've probably seen most often so far is Sociology and You, which I think it's a very readable textbook. I think the kids are pretty comfortable with it. Sociology is a little bit more of an advanced one that we'll use a little bit later in the year for a couple purposes. Just gave some methods of instruction. I like to mix things up a lot. I know with COVID things are a little bit different, and I've been trying to adapt to that. One of the things I've tried to do is to make sure that on days that your sons and daughters are in the classroom is to do some in-class discussion and maybe some things that would be a little bit more difficult at home. So far I've tried to do tests in school, which I don't like a whole lot because that is taking part of a day where I could be interacting with the students and turn it into a test or quiz. But at this point, I'm just more comfortable giving pen and paper quizzes and tests in the classroom rather than at home. And you can probably think about some of the reasons why that might be. So we will do a lot of different things. We will do some interactive types of things. Role playing is kind of big in sociology. We haven't gotten to that yet, but we will be doing some of that. A lot of Socratic seminars exploring issues. They will be doing some speaking in the classroom. That's one of my kind of pet issues, is the idea that the kids need to get comfortable speaking. I know we haven't done a ton of it yet, but they will get plenty of chances to speak in both formal and informal ways. And certainly also doing some of their own research and investigating research that's already been done. Just a couple things. I have a list of rules and procedures there. One of the things that I wanted to point out was, how at least in the beginning we're a little bit restricted in some of the things that we can do. We're just trying to find our grounding and making it comfortable for students. I've kind of split classes in two for that reason. The guys at home are not always doing the same thing as the ones that are in the classroom. That might change to a certain extent, and again, it's to accommodate things like videos and tests that almost have to be done in the classroom, but at least some of the videos. But we'll be talking about maybe some changes we're going to make pretty soon. I think basic same class procedures, expectations. Again, we're supposed to enforce the mask rule. I try to get everybody outside for 5 minutes. We've had some great days for that. Get to stretch their legs a little bit, take their mask off, and those sorts of things. Even a lot of the things I've listed on procedures and expectations aren't always even applicable for having the hybrid learning system that we're using right now. Behavior in all my classes has just been great. Still trying to work on getting a little bit more of classroom participation and the students actually up and doing some things as well. Grades, basically tests and quizzes throughout the year, about 40%. Critical thinking and reading assignments, that's probably going to be a little bit higher based upon the hybrid system. So probably bumping that up to maybe 40% and maybe tests and quizzes down to 30%. We have projects and writing. Homework, we have an extra 10 minutes of class time. I have not given a lot of official homework. I've tried to get it in during class since we do have that extra 10 minutes. Some of the more traditional homework things I have them working on the days that they're not in the classroom. So I would probably expect homework to go up a little bit, especially as we see some deadlines and what we have to cover, and we're losing a couple days next week. So expect homework. If you haven't seen much, that's going to pick up, and I know when they're home you just see them doing work. There's not anything that's really officially homework per se. Just have a couple comments about testing and those kinds of things. They get study guides for every chapter and every section. They have to read the textbook and do the study guide. I am not going to go through every fine detail that's in the book. They have to take the initiative to do that on their own and come to class prepared, ready to talk. And it's not like I'm going to magically deliver them 100% of their content. I look at it like I'm in class to get them interested, discuss interesting issues, certainly to review a few things, but they have to get 50% of the content on their own. And so far we've done a pretty good job at that. And there's a couple students still adjusting to some of the testing and things like that. But overall grades and performance have been really happy with this class. Late work for right now in the short term, I'm just accepting it. So do not let them say, oh, darn it, I got a 0. What am I going to do? What they're going to do is they're going to do it and they're going to turn it in. At least for right now, as we're in kind of this transition period of going into hybrid learning, I'm being pretty good with the acceptance of that late. You can see the various chapters we're going to cover this year. A lot of those were things that I already mentioned under the topics area. So you can just take kind of a quick look at that and see what you think. So that is our syllabus. So what I need to do then is go back to get rid of. Okay, so there you go. I want to thank everybody for coming today. And showing up. Please, again, I can't enforce the idea enough that just contact me anytime you want. Students have access on email and the Schoology message, and most of them have done a great job. And I'm looking forward to working with your sons and daughters this year, and I hope we have a great year, and I'm sure we will. Take care.